Dear listener, before I begin the story, I kindly ask you to subscribe to my channel. This is the best motivation for me as I get started. Now, let's begin. You inquire about my current emotional state, but the truth is, I don't experience any particular feelings at the moment. If you were to visualize my inner landscape, it would resemble a vast, arid desert, where the occasional tumbleweed drifts by, symbolizing the sporadic events that punctuate my existence. Now, you express interest in delving deeper into this barren expanse, but let me assure you, I am neither lonely nor unhappy. Despite the fact that she is now my former spouse, we have been blessed with two remarkable children. You seem concerned that the aftermath of our divorce has been challenging for me. However, we have managed to maintain a friendship, and I can confidently say that I am not distressed. That's the crux of the matter. My wife and I shared a joyful life together. Sometimes circumstances change and love fades, but our bond remains through our offspring. Moreover, she is an exceptional beauty and a talented individual. I consider myself incredibly fortunate to have had such an extraordinary partner. Presently, I don't harbor any yearning for her, even though her visits are infrequent. Please don't assume that my lack of emotional expression stems from an unhappy event. That is not the case at all. I am living a wonderful life now. I possess my own house, a sprawling apple orchard with an abundance of fruit at my disposal. The living room is magnificent, and there are numerous spacious rooms throughout the house, even including a personal garage. Admittedly, I have yet to acquire a vehicle, but having a garage is still a significant achievement in itself. I've been residing here for 9 months now, and it has been an incredible experience. The neighbors are delightful, and I even have a loyal canine companion in the yard. However, lately I have noticed a diminished ability to appreciate the crisp, frosty mornings and the comforting warmth emanating from the fireplace. But at the very least, I have a genuine fireplace, which is something I lacked in the past. Previously, we led a modest life, living within our means. Just a year ago, I was still engaged in creating commissioned portraits and illustrations for those eccentric and demanding youngsters, earning a pittance for my efforts. During those moments, I felt that I was not capable of achieving more. Yet simultaneously, I yearned for greater success. Each day, I dedicated myself to writing, constantly searching for something that I could eventually sell for a substantial sum, something that would be highly sought after. I spent most of my time secluded in my room, behind the canvas. Occasionally, I would seek inspiration by strolling along the riverbank, listening to the gentle lapping of the water or the distant hooting of ships at the port, observing the passers-by and taking note of the weather conditions. I would then attempt to capture this symphony of colors and sensations on the linen canvas in my room. I couldn't produce wealthy and influential subjects as swiftly as my friend Tom, another companion in the artistic world and my primary competitor. However, I had faith in my ability to create something extraordinary, innovative, and ingenious that would bring me fame and recognition. Everyone in my family shared this belief, and each had their own aspirations. Martha, my wife, longed for her own apple orchard to call home. Living in an apartment, the idea of owning an orchard seemed far-fetched. Mia and Neil, our children, dreamed of having separate bedrooms as they currently shared a single children's room. As for myself, I envisioned a spacious living room with a fireplace, reminiscent of an art gallery. It was my conviction that every self-respecting artist should possess such a living space. But at that time, all we had was a humble apartment, our hopes, and the unwavering belief that one day we would leave it all behind. And this was supposed to be resolved in the near future. I had to complete my magnum opus, which everyone would undoubtedly appreciate and admire. Why else would I have dedicated 6 years to its creation? I vividly remember the intense anxiety I experienced during the exhibition opening. They rejected it, failed to accept it, and did not comprehend its significance. The devil had played in favor of another. Now I feel nothing. No resentment, no sadness, no joy. Just a sense of calmness. But back then, it was vile. It was damnably cold. I made my way home, at a loss for words, unsure of how to convey to everyone that it had all been in vain, that my entire life had been a continuous waste from which I saw no escape. Everything they had believed in and expected from me had been futile. Martha, she didn't wait either. She was already packing her suitcase and preparing to leave with the children. When I entered the apartment, resembling a frozen corpse, she had already lost faith in me and knew instinctively that I was doomed to fail. She was leaving, departing for the one who had caused my masterpiece to be rejected, the one who had prevented it from being recognized and appreciated. My chief rival in the creative realm, who simultaneously had been my former friend, the brilliant and talented Fifi with a capital letter. The same person with whom, as she hastily confessed to me, my muse had been intimately involved for an extended period. I expelled her, along with her children. She was unable to utter a word, merely sobbing incoherently, gasping for air as if suffocating. The children wept, but only briefly. Soon, they all departed in silence, leaving me alone in our dilapidated apartment, saturated with shattered dreams. It bowed its head. I have no recollection of what transpired next. I regained consciousness in a hospital. Apparently, I had been unconscious for a considerable time. I was required to remain there for a couple of days. Throughout that period, just as you are currently inquiring about my decision to evict my wife and my sentiments regarding the failed exhibition, I had already recounted this entire narrative to journalists, as far as I can remember. However, in the aftermath of all this, I was gifted a house. To be perfectly honest, a gentleman introduced himself as a longtime admirer of my work, and mentioned that he possessed an unoccupied house on the outskirts of the city, which he wished to bestow upon me in exchange for my artwork. This canvas, the source of my immense suffering, I relinquished this detestable and agonizing creation without hesitation. And thus, fate and fortune themselves heeded my call, and everything I had ever dreamed of materialized. The fireplace, the living room resembling an art gallery. Granted, the paintings adorning the walls are not my own, and I no longer produce any artwork myself. The garden emerged, the very one Martha had always envisioned. Martha and I have managed to maintain a friendship. I cannot claim to have fully forgiven her, but we have succeeded in preserving an amicable relationship. She visits, bringing the children along, and she adores spending time in the garden. The kids relish playing hide-and-seek, as there are countless rooms to explore. In essence, the tale has reached its conclusion. Perhaps I experienced too much, harbored excessively high expectations at one point, and failed to consider the possibility that everything could crumble in an instant. Maybe I took it too deeply to heart, feeling everything with an acute vulnerability. Even now, I'm unable to shed tears. Presently, I'm feeling slightly unwell. Everyone is eager to assist me in sowing the seeds of living emotions. But how can anything flourish in this scorched desert? A doctor pays regular visits, bringing medication and engaging in conversation. And now, you are here as well. There's never a dull moment. Life is brimming with happenings. You implore me to articulate my current feelings. I simply have no response to offer you at this juncture. With that, the story comes to a close. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.